There's absolutely nothing going on in the world of boxing, and if that doesn't encourage you to keep listening, I don't know what will.
Well, I mean, I feel psyched after that. I'm ready to...
We're going to give this podcast our all, give it everything we've got now.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It is true. It is true, though. There's nothing going on. Or very, very little.
Very little, very little. This won't be the most... this probably won't be the most interesting pod. I think there's things to talk about, and things that we'll talk about a lot more, because obviously fights being announced and confirmed. The one thing that we're not going to talk about, which I'm now going to talk about, is Lomachenko retiring. What a loss for the world. I know he was past it, but what a loss for the world of boxing. My favourite boxer to watch, just when he turned pro, just this string of fights, making everyone quit. No Maschenko is no Mas. Thank you for the memories. He was
absolutely brilliant, and nice to see him sort of retiring now as well, rather than sort of getting a few more defeats on his record.
Yeah, I went down a hole when he retired, just watching back his highlights and knowing how good he was. You forget how good he was. Like he just. I remember a quote about him once. I can't remember who it was, but someone was saying they'd sparred with him, and they're like, right, he's in front of me, he's to the left of me, he's to the right of me, he's in the front row next to my wife. Oh, he's just not. It's obviously an English fucking to say that, but maybe Crawler. Actually, I think it might have been Anthony Crawler. But yeah, it was what a fighter. What was that move?
But I mean, the point was, people still love Usyk, even though he's not a knockout artist. That's quite rare for people to like heavyweight boxers that don't knock people out.
He was trained by Lova's dad, right? I think that's right.
Was he?
Dad was like this professor of boxing who had them all doing Ukrainian like dancing until they were 13. I mean, some like almost like Mr. Miyagi, you're not going to do anything, but when you do, you just be absolutely brilliant at it, and that's what it was. But if you think of the Klitschko brothers, come forward, it's not just, but I'm not that engaging to watch. And then this sort of new breed of Ukrainians, but I now think every Ukrainian's going to be fantastic because of Loma and Usyk, which probably isn't the truth.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit sort of swayed that way as well. You think, that's the way the Ukrainians fight now. Like,
it's like every Fury. I think they're going to be like Tyson, but as even Tyson Fury is not really like Tyson Fury anymore. So probably it's probably the exception rather than the rule.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So what are we going to move on to?
Talking of fighters who aren't as good as they were, should we start with the big fight that's been confirmed?
I don't know where you're going to go with this one.
Canelo versus Crawford.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's start with Canelo Crawford. I mean, I was on a massive downer last time we did a podcast about everyone. I told myself I'm going to be a lot more positive.
When you were going to tell me that you think this fight's going to be great.
No, I don't. I think it's going to be a rubbish fight. I don't think it'll be a good fight for a couple of reasons, which is, one, Canelo's output has dwindled massively. Two, Crawford's coming up in weight. Although he looks big, he's going to have to dance around. He's going to have to dance around him. And also, like, I don't think it's I know everybody's saying, oh, this is a massive, massive fight. I don't think it's that big of a fight, because I think Canelo's past his best now. And Crawford, it's going to be his last fight. He's done his Crawford. He's done. He's over.
Yeah. I don't know about where Crawford's over.
But he has said he isn't fighting anyone at all.
Has he?
I didn't know. He's not fighting anyone at all. I mean, he's been saying this a while until the Canelo fight. But I mean, he's 37, and he's going up 2 weights. What's he going to do?
Yeah, I don't know. That's fair. For me, I don't disagree with a lot of that. It's a bit of a mad fight in the whole sort of boxing now ecosystem, if I can say that without sounding like too much of a wanker. But basically, His Excellency the kid, Turkey. I think that's the thing I most like about Canelo at the moment is he called him the kid, and I hope he does that in every press conference. But Turkey's come out and said, which I really like, was right. We're not going to have any more cat and mouse fights for Riyadh season. We want to be entertained, which is, when we had that stinker, in the Ring magazine one in New York in Times Square, and then Canelo versus Skull, which I actually think is a fight for the ages in terms of being, a really bad fight. It was so poor, and we were saying like if His Excellency is treating boxing like his own sort of pay-per-view, I want to see you guys fight. I'm going to make it happen. I want to see it, which he has done. It certainly sounds like he's been, looking over here. We talk about it every week, the domestic dust-ups that we're having. That's what they are. He's looked over and he said, right, I want to see people come and fight and have a go. And then the fight which he's leading with feels absolutely like that's what it's going to be. I can't, do you know what I mean? I can't see it being anything else. And it's the most cat and mouse fight ever. It's going to be, Pacquiao, Mayweather all over again, where people are going to watch it. And this is the thing as well, but it's on Netflix, right?
But I mean, that to me is the one sort of the silver lining of the cloud is the fight's going to be on Netflix. And I think it's going to be at a reasonable time as well.
Is it? Well, it's in Vegas, right?
It is, but I've got a feeling they're going to tweak the times. I think it might have been said already, so it's it's not a 5 a.m. fight.
Yeah, well, that'll be good. I'd appreciate that if they could do that for us. But it's Dana White's first promotion as part of this. So Dana White is still involved. It's on Netflix. It's going to have a reach, they're saying, of like 300 million people, and it's sort of door just got banged out. That's why somebody looks scared. Mick McCarthy scared of nothing. It's going to have such a large audience, and I think it's going to be a terrible fight.
I just how can it not be like Crawford's not coming to knock Canelo out? Obviously, Canelo's feet are probably not good enough to keep up with Crawford. Yeah, doesn't seem to be able to cut off the ring. Barely throws any punches. I mean, maybe in his defense, maybe he only threw hardly any punches in the Williams Skull fight because he'd been told he was going to win it no matter what, and he just wanted to get through the fight. Like I genuinely believe that.
Usual rules apply, Canelo. Yeah, you're 6 rounds up, off you go.
Yeah, like I do think there's a little bit of that in there. Like he had to come out of the Skull fight because they knew the Canelo Crawford fight was on. And I know he's been beaten, but like losing to Skull ahead of that would have been disastrous, really.
Yeah, I hope I'm wrong, but it's like, and also it's one that Canelo's sort of on a hiding to nothing here, because if he wins, he's the bigger guy and he should win. Yeah, and if he loses, he's finished.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like he can't. I don't think he can win. I'm sure he'll make a lot of money out of it. I'm sure he doesn't really care what I think. But it's a fight that should excite me, but doesn't, because of the weight, because of the age, and because of styles make fights and all that. But it's I love watching Crawford, the Spence fight, Sean Porter, that knockout where Sean Porter's beefed through the ground. So it's like just too good.
I just don't know if he's not being super active because of this fight. He's going up to. Are we going to see sort of vintage Crawford? I don't know. Like I don't know. Like nothing is lining up well for this fight. Like it's not.
What's the rehydration? Is there any rehydration clause? Because
I don't think there is in this one. I think it's just fair game.
Because the classic one was Liam Smith, wasn't it, when he fought Canelo? He said he saw him at the weigh-in and he was like, okay, got ya. He said he came into the fight, he rehydrated. And he was like, gone up like 2 weight classes. That's the same guy. He was like, I'm beaten already. So I guess as part of that, maybe, who knows? I mean, this sounds like being very disrespectful to them both. They're both, well, no, mainly Canelo. is absolutely class and has been class. I just think it's going to be
he has been. When do you think? When was Canelo's last good fight?
good,
Like really good sort of Canelo performance.
Charlo 2023.
Was that great of a performance?
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I thought he just dominated it, and he looked good. I think it was the last fight because he was on that string of just fighting a Brit every other fight and just sort of going through them. And the Charlo fight, I thought he looked good. But
I think it's Saunders.
Are you going back that? Yeah,
I think it's Saunders.
Fight before or 2 fights before Charlo. I think it's since then I haven't really. I don't know. He hasn't excited me. Hasn't looked that good since.
The John Ryder fight wasn't a bad little fight, and it looked like he was sort of on his way to doing what he normally did. But then John Ryder kind of stood up to it quite well, actually.
Yeah.
But then they were fighting in the freaking matchbox as well. It was ridiculous, the ring size.
And respectfully, it's John Ryder.
Yeah, and I quite like John Ryder. I quite like his. I like his style. I like his. He's just going to be there and he's going to hit no matter what.
Story,
but it is John Ryder, and yeah,
exactly. I do like him, but it's John.
It was a definite sort of John Ryder's making his money and he's heading to the hills fight. That
it was one of those fights when it was announced. You're like, well, he wasn't going there to win.
Yeah.
Wasn't that there to win, was he? But it's one of those where it's like, okay, you keep hearing people saying, "Right, it's gonna be a fight for the purists," and then as in like, it could be a cagey game, cat and mouse, and there could be some defensive stuff there to like, and it's kind of the different styles, but the weight classes, it doesn't seem like the kind of fight that's the one where a lot of people are going to be watching boxing for maybe not the first time, but it's going to get a big casual audience on Netflix.
I suppose because it's on Netflix, it will. I just don't know how much
numbers, but it's going to be. The reason I say Pacquiao, Mayweather is because that got such big numbers, but it wasn't a great fight, was it? So that's what I expect. Maybe there'll be enough in the build up. It's going to be hyped to hell. Dana White's going to be in it. Dana White managed to convince me that Conor McGregor could potentially knock out Mayweather. And
true. Yeah, me too.
So it's going to get sold to me in a way that I'll buy it. And in the podcast and the week building up to it, I will.
And to be fair, some would say that Crawford is used to dealing with fairly large units. I don't know if you've seen his wife.
I haven't. No, I haven't. But I now have an image in my head. Wasn't Crawford? Didn't he get shots in the head and then he got back and fought like about 6 weeks early in his career? He caught a stray bullet, and then he
in the head.
Yeah, I think this is right. Let me just. Yeah, 2008. He was sitting in his car after a dice game, and then he drove himself to the hospital.
Fair play.
He was back in the ring within 2 months. So it's what a guy! What a guy!
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, I mean, the build-up's going to be great. I would assume they're going to do another of those ridiculous trailers that they make. Get everyone hyped for it. Yeah, but I fail to see it being a fight that catches fire. I just can't see, and I almost can't see any way that happens.
No, I can't. Last week when we chatted about the Dubois and Usyk, and I was saying I can make a case for either narrative here. I can't really see a narrative where this will be a good fight. I'll wait for Dana White to tell me why in a few weeks' time, and I'll get it.
I'm going all in on a Crawford win. A boring, very boring win by Crawford.
A lot of people are big on it. I can't remember his name now, but I heard someone talking about it the other day, and they were saying everyone they speak to is on Crawford, which I don't know. Maybe Maybe that's gonna stoke something up in Canelo. He'll eat enough tainted beef to get himself really rage, and he'll just go in there and blow him out of there. Who knows? I don't think it will happen. I haven't looked at the undercard. Is the undercard announced yet?
I haven't seen anything of it yet.
I'm assuming that. Well, I'm hoping that will be good. I'm hoping that will be good for the reasons because of the exposure, and that will be the fighters. Because this is the thing as well about Riyadh. We'll talk about Hrgovic and Adeleye in a bit, but I think they. Oh, yeah. The types of fighters who it sounds like, but I do think it's the case, that generally get invited to those are ones who are going to put on a bit of a show or have a go because they know that money's there. Obviously, it doesn't really matter to Canelo and Crawford. This is a legacy fight. So I'm hoping the undercard will be more in keeping with this anti-cat and mouse approach.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is I'm going to assume it's going to be largely American fighters who are now known for sort of not being that entertaining.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed there'll be a few Brits in there. I've got a fight I want to see. I'll talk about it in a bit. But a fight I've done a matchmaking in my head, which
okay,
yeah, which we'll chat about. This is a British heavyweight fight. Again, one that will be. Yeah, hopefully. I just think the British heavyweights at the moment, there's so many good fights, like fun fights.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
And I think Riyadh season should basically be that big British blokes having slugfests.
It's weird, isn't it? Because we've had a lot of British fights or fights in Britain that have been really, really good lately, and I was kind of thinking like, oh well. Turkey's going to take note and sort of start chucking some of them on his cards because you know what you're getting usually with the Brits. They'll turn up and chuck everything in, and I'm not really seeing it. Like I don't think. If we get to David Adeleye, Philip Hrgovic, I don't know if that's quite the right matchmaking at all, to be honest. So that's which undercard is that going on?
So that's on the Toma White.
Oh, okay. It's Animal White. So
and also on that card is Nick Bull and I can't remember who he's fighting. And Kakacha is getting a fight on. Is Kakacha's next fight?
Is Kakacha fighting Raymond Ford?
Could be. Yeah. No, he's
a nice little fighter, Raymond Ford.
Yeah.
So obviously he fought Nick Bull, lost to Nick Bull.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. So I think. Was this going to be then the winner of Nick Bull, Kakacha? Oh no, sorry, of Kakacha and
Ford.
Yeah, Ford is then going to fight with Nick Bull in the Belfast fight.
But Nick Bull would have to go up in weight, wouldn't he?
Could he fight? Is that?
I don't know. Potentially.
Yeah. Who knows? Right, but Adeleye Hrgovic. Go on.
I think the whole of boxing was shocked by that matchmaking. Yeah. Firstly, I thought Adeleye sort of owed Jamie TKV a rematch.
100%.
And I don't really know why that rematch hasn't been made because, I think it's an all right fight to put on, and it's a good fight to put on in the UK.
It's one of those fights. It's for classic boxing, just nonsense, where the British Border Control order the rematch. And then Adeleye goes, nah.
Nah, I tell you what. I fancy that Hrgovic, who's about seven times better than me. Seems to have a rock solid chin. He's got good punch combos. I'll have a crack at him. Not a chance in hell does he win that fight.
I'm gonna have a crack at the guy who Zhang couldn't get out of there. That's what I'm going to go at.
Yeah.
That's it. It's mad. And you look at Adelaye's record, Jamie TKV, that, whether it's dodgy, it wasn't a good look. But I think it's within, it left a bad aftertaste, didn't it? I think it is within the rules and all that. But that should have been the rematch. You look at his record, and it's literally. Fabio Wardley absolutely destroyed it.
Yep, he really did.
He really did. And Fabio Wardley's stock's arguably dropped since then. So, and that was fight. I can't remember what undercard that was on now, but that was the fight when in the ring afterwards, Adeleye was saying, "Oh, I don't think he should have been stopped. I don't think I should have been stopped." And it was Steve Bunce when so the Steve Bunce like, no, mate, you lost. You lost. Mate.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was all those and Adeleye was like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe I did. But Adeleye had been such a prick in the run up to that fight as well that it was really quite nice to see. But this fight,
hard fighter to like, hard fighter to like. I mean, to be honest, if you don't like Adeleye, it's a great fight. Is watching him fight Hrgovic.
George, you know what? I don't think it will be good to watch because of that.
I mean, I don't know. Like Hrgovic is a weird one, isn't he? Because he's sort of, you think he's a certain level. So like, obviously, he gave Daniel Dubois quite a hard time until he gassed out, and then got stopped on a cut. Would Dubois have stopped him? We'll never know. No one will ever know. But then he's obviously been in with Joe Joyce.
That's what I was going to say.
Won that fairly comfortably, but he didn't put it. Didn't get it. He's got a good chin, but like Jean had no problems getting him out of there. Like even Chisora decked Joyce as well. Like it's not that great. I mean, I suppose it's a win's a win, and he wasn't in trouble.
It is, but you look at it. I do think with Hrgovic, he's almost like because again, he's one of those who've been talking about. Seems like he's been around and there or thereabouts for years. He seems like a nearly man.
But yeah, agreed. But what is the point in this fight for Filip Hrgovic?
I don't know, just money.
Just activity and money. But he shouldn't be fighting at the level of David Adeleye. He should not be fighting that level.
It's easy money for him. Yeah, I'd be amazed if there's anything other than a Hrgovic knockout. Amazed.
I would as well. I would.
But the thing, it's where does Hrgovic... Again, it's this thing, I say it every week, is the belts, I feel like, are going to be thrown up in the air after the Usyk Dubois fight. And I think he's highly ranked by IBF, so he suddenly is jostling into position. So I guess it's just, I don't know, keeping his ranking and keeping active and also, I guess anything, it's answering the call when Turkey calls, right?
I suppose. I suppose.
I think it probably could be that. But for me, what it got me thinking was basically Jamie TKV's been absolutely done over here. Oh, well, I say done over. He'll inherit the British title, right? So this is the fight I was alluding to. So I would love to see Dave Allen now to get the British title. He had it before, right? But I'd like him to go and get that and just stay at that level, and there to be this crunch of British.
I don't think he's won a British title, Dave Allen.
Has he not? Has he not?
He's never had a belt, has he? He's never had a belt. I mean, he's got one now, but it's not really a belt, is it?
Because that was the story. Well, sorry, of course it was. Yeah. But yeah, I'd love David Allen to. Well, he must get him in. He must get that shot. Jamie TKV versus Dave Allen. Dave Allen wins it, and then Dave Allen with the British title becomes almost like the official gatekeeper of you have to beat me. I'm like a troll on the bridge. If you want to,
fair play.
I'm there, and I just love it. Just because most of the time people get the British title, and they're passing through, right? They're going, they're going beyond domestic, and they're going to have cash fights in the European world. Whereas Dave Allen is very much comfortable in his own skin and his level, and that's why I want to be there. And maybe Johnny Fisher goes back, comes again, and then I'll go at that in a few years' time. But I'd love to see that, because when I think what will happen is, maybe Fabio Wardley will drop back from the top table, then you'll have him then. But British title, I feel like there's going to be enough British fighters who aren't quite good enough, and that becomes a really interesting, almost subdivision within the heavyweight division.
That's good. I wonder if Dave Allen would take a fight with TKV for a British title. I think the title would entice him, but it's almost like Dave Allen now commands a bigger fee than that.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I don't know. Maybe because he's David Allen, maybe he gets a fee. Maybe maybe His Excellency orders it. Who knows?
Because it's obviously he's been talking about Wilder. I mean, anyone interested in boxing is tuning in for Dave Allen, Deontay Wilder all day long.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, Deontay Wilder's got connections to Sheffield, right? I think he's like got some family there. Can we get Deontay Wilder to fight for the British? in my new, I'm trying to get the British heavyweight. It's like my World Boxing Super Series where I just they're better. You've got to beat Dave Allen, and it's like winning. Well, obviously, his winner stays on, and Dave Allen's just.
I do like the idea of the British sort of heavyweight scene being not quite good enough for world level, with these fighters, but like it being really competitive at the same time. Like almost anyone can beat anyone.
Exactly.
And that's the kind of fight. Those are the kind of fights that should be on this weekend coming up. So we've actually got something to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Put it on Channel 5, happy days. Yeah, that's the fight I want to see.
If we go back to the Hrgovic Adeleye fight, it's an odd one to put on the Itama White card because it feels like you've got two heavyweight fights that are going to do a collective total of about 4 rounds there. Which when you want your fights to do like 8 rounds, don't you? When it's a big card, you want your main event to be like 8 rounds or something like that, or the one before it. The one before it needs to be a really good fight.
I can already hear Frank Warren in the ring afterwards saying, "That's heavyweight boxing. That's both fights. That's heavyweight boxing. That's heavyweight boxing." That's my prediction.
But I mean, it's not fair to say that because we're slagging off Frank Warren for saying something that he hasn't yet said. But it's not fair to say that when you mismatch fights. Like, it's just not fair. I mean, maybe this is Turkey's involvement. I don't know. It is a Saudi, it is a Riyadh fight. So maybe this is just Turkey saying, "Look, I just want knockouts." So
exactly.
Philip Hrgovic, who have we got? David Adeleye. Yes, he'll knock him out. Okay, put that on.
Well, that's it. Maybe he's like, right, I've said this cat and mouse thing. I've then completely mugged myself off by announcing Canelo and Crawford. Right, what I need knockouts. I need them quick. I need 2 within 7 rounds, whatever it's going to be. And I'm good. So, yeah, maybe that's it. He's balancing me out.
Yeah. Maybe Johnny Fisher's fighting AJ on the undercard as well.
Wonderful. The battle of the chins.
What else is on that undercard then?
Well, Capture, Big Paul. I don't know who else is on there.
Okay. Well, there's still quite a bit of time.
There's names in every fight, so it's a good. It's shaping up to be a really nice card. Good night of boxing, to be fair, isn't it? So I think, I'm just a bit disappointed that Kakach's next fight wasn't at Belfast for a world title. That's what I thought.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So I'm sure he'll get his money, but I guess he just wants his money now, and he'll get that. So fair play to him. But just cram as many in as he can before he turns 37, I guess. That's
So we have talked about this fight a little bit on multiple other podcasts, but while there's absolutely nothing going on, back to Usyk Dubois, obviously it's getting closer now. Are we about a month out?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
If you're, Dubois' camp are sort of trying to rattle Usyk by calling him a cheat and that kind of stuff. I think they've even said like he, mocked his religion or said he's not really a proper religious person. I can't help but think, like, if I'm in Usyk's camp, I'd just say, look, all you've got to do is every time he ever says anything, say, "I knocked you out with a jab."
Yeah.
What comeback is there to that? I knocked you out with I'm a cruiserweight. I don't knock people out in heavyweight, and I knocked you out with a jab.
You know the comeback.
What?
Let's go.
ready to go.
Ready to go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. I. It seems like a waste of your own energy trying to get to. If Tyson Fury can't get to Usyk, Daniel Dubois can't get to Usyk. It's pointless. You just.
I don't know if I completely agree, because Tyson Fury is more or less just a knobhead, isn't he? Like, it's not like, people say he's master of the mind games. He isn't really. He's just like a massive knobhead.
I think both things can be true. I think so. Mind games. If we take mind games back to like what it really means, get in someone's head. If you're a knobhead, you're going to get to me. You are going to get.
Yeah, and to most people that works, but obviously when he came up against Usyk,
Oh yes, I mean,
like he just didn't it didn't even register most of it, and to the point where it looked like Tyson Fury had almost got in his own head and convinced himself that he wasn't going to win.
Exactly. Well, Tyson Fury's nonsense, then, if we call it that, didn't. I think because Usyk came back with such a childish response of calling him greedy belly, that I think that's quite disarming, isn't it? It's almost like, infuriating. Someone just copies everything he says, or like when you're at school.
Yeah, it is like that, yeah.
There you are, said you are, but what am I? So you can't argue with that. Usyk will decide how much he can understand and can't understand.
Yeah.
And I think you don't spend the energy on it. So I think it's pointless for a while. And also, he did get knocked out by a jab. But as I say, different fighter this time. I think it'll be a better fight. I would like Dubois to win.
Part of me sort of would like Dubois to win, but sort of dethroning Usyk, it doesn't feel right. Like, Usyk kind of feels like, he needs to go on his own terms without being beaten.
He should be enshrined. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, and losing to Dubois, I think if he loses to Dubois, there's sort of got to be a third fight. Because if he loses to Dubois, he's going to get knocked out, isn't he? That's what's going to happen. And then he could say, look, you just got lucky, but I'm going to beat you if we have another fight. So, like, it'd be great for Dubois to be the champion. I know he's a champion, but this is the fight where he does become a champion in my eyes.
You know what? I quite like Dubois as a fighter, and something endearing about him, I think, which is weird to say about his massive 18-stone man.
Just before you go on, he cheated Joseph Parker. He's cheated him. He just can't. This fight should not be happening. Joseph Parker had a title shot, right? He hasn't got a title shot now. Dubois has just binned that fight off. I don't believe he was ill. I'm sorry, but I don't believe he was ill for that fight. I think they got wind that Usyk would take the fight, so they stepped out knowing that Parker was difficult.
You might be right there. We'll never know, but I agree with you. Parker, it's harsh on Parker, but I think Daniel Dubois, if he wins this, he's going to get, sort of been waiting in the wings with Fury, Joshua domestically, and then Usyk comes onto the scene. And then if he does get all the titles by some shot, I'd back Moses Atoma against him.
I'd
back Moses Atoma to become the guy, this great British heavyweight. The prince who was promised, I think, is going to be Moses Atoma rather than Daniel Dubois. And I feel like Dubois is like this, footnote heavyweight in between. Is the kind of person, and I might be wrong, that's really disrespectful. 10, 15 years' time, I think our sons will know Anthony Joshua, or the casual lad of the age, will know about 18, 19. They'll know boxers from yesteryear of Anthony Joshua, and Moses Atoma probably coming to the end of his reign. And they'll be like, it'll be what's deemed as the new level of purists, non-casual fans go, oh, don't you remember Daniel Dubois? I feel like he's going to be
Dubois is quite beatable, though, isn't he? That's the thing. Obviously, he's ferocious. He's a big hitter. Seems to have a relatively decent chin, but he is beatable. He's very much beatable. I could almost see a scenario where Tyson Fury comes out of retirement if Dubois gets all those belts and says, "I want Dubois."
Yeah.
Because I would fancy Fury to.
I would
just cause Dubois too many problems.
I think so. Because you're not, again, I don't think you're going to knock Fury out. I don't think you will.
Yeah.
And so I think Dubois made for Fury. Same as I think AJ's made for Fury, to be fair. It's just that Usyk was better at what Fury does than Fury.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
But that's why I'm not mad keen on the idea of Dubois beating Usyk, because I don't think Dubois is going to be an all-time great or anything like that. I just don't think he's got. I don't think he's got it in him. I think he's quite beatable.
That said,
when Dubois got beaten by Joe Joyce, I wouldn't have put him where he is now. And he is still young, really, isn't he? He's still young.
He is.
Good, and he's been, doing 1 million press ups a day.
But it takes a lot. It takes a lot of punishment, doesn't he? Like he's definitely a fighter that gets clobbered about quite a bit. Like Joe Joyce obviously smashed him to pieces. Usyk did a number on him. I mean, like he stopped him on his. He gave in because the beating was so bad. Like it, if you're a boxer and that's you, wouldn't you just sort of like do a little wake to the corner and throw the towel in so it's not on you? Like it's got to not be on you. Like it's such a bad place to be.
That's why though, if I was going to quit, I'd do it in a Roberto Duran way, where I'd just go, nah, that looks to this. Looks to this for no mass fight. Whereas I just had enough. Like, no, nah, come on, I'm done. And then there's no, no one's calling it into question because you just said no. Well, yeah, of course I quit. Did you see him? Absolutely battering me. I think that's the way to do it.
So obviously we'll do more predictions closer to the time because we're still a way off. I still might change my opinion on this. I don't know. I'm open to changing. I don't know. It's a difficult one to call. I've bet against Usyk so many times. I picked Fury to beat him in both fights. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
It's a tough one to call. At the moment, I'm with Usyk all the way, but that may change.
Yeah, I think it'll be a better fight than the first fight because I do think, as I said last week, I think Dubois believes he can win this time. I don't think he will, but I think he believes it a lot more.
I don't know. It seems quite fragile. I just think if he goes in first 2-3 rounds and he's just getting, like you said about Lomachenko earlier on, oh, he's left, he's right, he's in front of you, he's behind you, like he's just not there. As a person that's been in that position twice and given up in fights twice, that's got to come right back into your head. I don't care whether you've lasted, Big Baby Miller, you've took Big Baby Miller to the wire. I don't care whether you stopped Hrgovic on a cut. Like it's still there. It has to be there.
They're very different tests, aren't they? It's like the Tony Bell you're talking about it the other day. He was saying he'd never been as tired as he was in that fight, and he'd said it to AJ before the first AJ fight. Like, you gotta be ready because it's like he'll exhaust you because it's constant. The mental fatigue and staying on it. And AJ was like, I think I can keep. I'm big enough to prevent that. And then after that's why he was like, yeah, Christ, at least I know what I'm in against next time. But obviously, didn't really change it.
Didn't help. Yeah, did not help.
Yeah.
Are they printing? Do you think they're printing the scorecards right now, pre-filled in for Serrano Taylor 3?
They might have done. They might have them ready to go.
Surely Katie Taylor is going into this one and thinking, look, you can just you could just knock me out. Like, just knock me out because this is ridiculous. Like, every time Katie Taylor fights Serrano, I would argue that Serrano probably won both fights. I think most people would say that, but the judges never give it to her. Like, just lose the fight if you're Katie Taylor. Just lose it and go, look, I beat you twice. You beat me once. The record will show that I beat you twice. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. You feel like there should be something like that. What is that fight? It's in July, isn't it? In a few weeks.
Yeah, that's about mid-July, I think, that one.
Yeah. Well, see, but that's the third fight, right? So what's to be other than Serrano getting their revenge? That has to be the story, right?
I mean, it is. But that was the story last time as well.
Yeah, but surely it's doubled. It's doubled this time, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of feels like it's pre-done, that fight. Serrano's going to win, obviously, this time. It's just that it couldn't happen a third time, could it?
It could.
It could, and it will.
It could. It could. Oh, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Did they do... I can't remember now. I really should know this. Was there a third fight of Triple G and Canelo? Was
yes.
It just...
Yeah, there was a third fight. It was a comfortable win for Canelo, but Triple G was he's well past his best by the time that happened.
Yeah, that's it. Again, it was one bite. I remember it. Yes, weren't even interested, or to show my lack of interest, the guy completely happened.
I don't think anyone was massively up for that fight by the time the third one came around. It was like, oh, God,
we've seen it because it was the first one with the insane cards, right? Second one, Triple G.
The second one was close. First one wasn't close. Second one was close. I mean,
first one Triple G won, but he didn't.
Yep.
Second one, Canelo won.
Probably. If he won, it could have. I think it could have gone either way. I was heavily biased because I wanted Triple G to win all the fights, so I wasn't scoring it fairly. I struggle when you've got a dog in the fight. I don't know how people do that, to be honest. Well, one thing I know is the commentators don't do it either. So,
Yeah. No, and just see what they want to see.
Have we got anything else going on in boxing then? I mean,
nothing that's standing out to me.
There's the Jake Paul Chavez fight. I watched, funnily enough, the only thing I'll say on this is I watched a little preview on it the other day, and it felt a bit like it had been paid for by Jake Paul. And it was an independent YouTube channel, and they were saying, oh, look, Paul's done this, but largely he hasn't fought too many boxers, and he's beaten this person and this person. At no point did they mention Tommy Fury. It was like, if you are summing up Jake Paul's boxing career, Tommy Fury has to be the biggest part of that, because he's the only active young boxer, really, that he's fought.
Yeah.
And he got beat.
Yeah. I mean, I the whole thing, I hate it. I hate those fights. I hate all of them.
I wish that nobody would watch this fight, because the whole debacle around the Mike Tyson fight was just an utter shambles. It was a really bad fight. Tyson looked rubbish. I don't know what your thoughts are, whether you felt like that was a payoff or you just felt like it was an old man.
I didn't watch it. I don't, honestly, I don't even like Soccer Aid. Like, genuinely, if I watch boxing, I want to watch people who do it and are really good at it. I don't want to see anybody. I sound like a grumpy old man. I don't. Yeah, no interest.
Fair enough. I mean, maybe there might be a decent card underneath it. Let's say that, because I mean, Jake Paul has. I think he put on Taylor Serrano too. I think that was.
Did you know what? As a promoter,
yeah,
all good. I'm happy days with that. Crack on.
He's certainly done more for female boxing than the Saudis have in their time.
Weird, eh?
Very strange.
Very strange. Do you know what? Right, okay. Jake Paul then. So let me do a little bit on Jake Paul then. As a promoter, he's put on some good fights, and he can sell, and he's good at that. And maybe in the fullness of time, he'll become a really good boxing promoter because the fighters will respect him because of the fact he lives the life of a boxer.
Yeah, fair enough.
So maybe that'll be his legacy in the sport. If he makes it to Bob Arum's age, then he can, he'll rewrite the history as everyone does, and it'll have been, the best boxer that there was. So.
But I mean, he can fix all this, can't he? Can he not fix all this and just get in the ring with an active boxer? Like, surely, like he's just got to do that. That's.
Well, now he's lost as well.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, right? You're really drawing.
Well, didn't he lost to didn't he lose to KSI? Has KSI beat both the Paul brothers?
Arguably,
KSI is even less likable than Jake Paul. Some going.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not having any either. I guess this is a step. It's not. Tommy Fury is an active fighter, but no, he had a name. Chavez has a name and a name, his family, and was an active boxer and a boxer of some level. Obviously, he's long retired. Maybe he's edging towards it. I don't know. But yeah, that's. Hey, Amir Khan's promoting. Without an Accra, old man O'Hara Davis.
Oh yeah. I was just quickly scanning through upcoming fights. This is brilliant, actually. Just check this out. So, where will we start? So you've got 27th of June, Deontay Wilder fighting this Herndon lad in Wichita. Yeah. Right, not a great one, but Wild's back. 28th of June, Paul versus Chavez Jr. On the undercard, Ramirez is fighting on the undercard of that. So that's something to watch.
Cruiserweight Ramirez.
Yeah. So that's something. Following that, we've then got, let's have a look, Catterall Eubank coming up on the 5th of July. Joe Cordina's fighting on the undercard of that one. Then 11th of July, Taylor Serrano. That's decent. After that, Shiraz is fighting Berlanga on the 12th. It's kicking off this month. Then the week after that, Usyk v Dubois, Coley Lorena on the undercard. They need to sort out the rest of the undercard for that one.
Yeah.
After that, you've got Barrios Pacquiao. Like, it is all happening. So we are well aware this has been a diabolical podcast, but it can only get better from here, can't it?
Absolutely. Lots to talk about.
And if we've learned anything from this podcast, it's when there's nothing to talk about, it's not great.
Yeah. But talk we can. And talk we will.
And then Itama White. Yeah. Itama White. Oh, that's the best card by a mile. Itama White, Hrgovic, Adeleye, Ball, Goodman, Kakachi, Ford. That's the best card by a mile.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? That's the one.
Well, lots to look forward to. Just not for a week or so yet.
Bide your time, guys. Bide your time.